If you were cool with the people that surrounded you in that building and they saw you outside naked, even if you were bro. If you were cool with those people, they would have been like, Joe, you fucking drunk, take your ass inside, and that would have been the end of it. No one would have brought it up. No one would have called the police. No one would have tried to get you caught up to the point where all of this gets exposed to public. Because here's another thing, Joe. You're probably the only public face in that building. You need your public persona to be what it is. They don't. So if we admonish you publicly, because it's going to happen, niggas are going to cover this case and they're going to admonish you solely for being naked or whatever the fuck you was doing. They're going to admonish you. That's by design. What's good, YouTube? It's your boy Elevation here with another episode of the JBP Elevated, where we speak on the Joe Budden podcast and all of his co-hosts on and off the pod. I just said it. I just said yesterday, I'm not going to cover this case anymore. But, of course, in typical fashion, when they're the day after I said it, they are publicly admonishing him. Listen to this press release. On December 4th, 2024, at approximately 7:21 a.m., the Edgewater police were dispatched to an apartment complex for the report from a resident that a man was standing outside of their apartment door completely naked. The caller recognized the man as a neighbor, Joseph Budden Jr., a 44-year-old male. The caller was alerted to Budden by their doorbell camera. The video depicted Budden attempting to enter code into the door keypad several times before re-entering his own residence across the hall. As a result of police investigation, Budden was charged with lewdness on a complaint summons. Come on, guys. Come on! This is ridiculous. Yesterday, I was getting on his ass because of how he carried himself, which, of course, still carries weight because this is why this is happening. But now his George Zimmerman comments make sense. What happens when this neighbor, who clearly knows Joe Budden and clearly knows Joe Budden, has a complex in this building or an apartment in this complex? What happens when they call the police this late at night or early in the morning, 1, 2 a.m. in the morning? What happens? Especially if he's already left your door and went back to his house. And according to other reports, Joe has multiple units in this complex. Don't let me find out that Joe's other apartment is right next door to this neighbor that called the police. Don't let me find that out. It's starting to all make sense. When I say this is by design, Joe, I mean it. But before I continue to go on Joe, because this is actually, I feel like Joe is going to get redemption from this. My brother brought this up. He said, what if, as a result of the neighbors hating on Joe recording in the building and hating on Joe just period, what if this was Joe's way of getting out of that lease early? It didn't happen in the way he intended. It wasn't a flawless execution because clearly he didn't expect it to hit the public airwaves. But what if this was his way of realizing, all right, we fucked up. We got to get out of here. And I don't want to solely the JBN brand. Because if you watched any of my earlier videos, I was staunch on them putting everything under the JBN because that's what you do when you have an LLC for tax purposes. Don't be surprised if these units turn up in the JBN's name and not underneath Ian's name or Joe's name. What happens when I don't want to sully that brand? I don't want to fuck up the credit that we've worked years to build up to this point by reneging on this lease. So this is what my brother's observation was. I'm not mad at it. But this report perfectly encapsulates everything I said yesterday. And I'm so happy that y'all saw that yesterday. This is ridiculous. After I beat this case, I wouldn't want anything to do with Edgewater or New Jersey. This is by design. You want to stunt on us. You want to act like because you have money, you could do whatever it is you feel. We don't want you over here in these parts, brother. We do not want you here. You can't hear this police report and tell me that everything is cool and this is just copacetic. It says in the report, the neighbor that called the police noticed Joe Budden as their neighbor and still called the police. You don't think this is the neighbor that was interfering with their podcast recordings all the times? Well, not all the times, but the couple of times that we heard stomping on the roof, on the floor. You don't think this was them? All the noise complaints they received whenever Flip and Joe were recording improper improv. Flip brought in the mariachi band. Oh no. You don't think these are the same neighbors? This is one to possibly 3 entities. The same people. And they probably started off with 1. But since I'm cool and diplomatic with everybody in this complex, I'm going to get everyone to go against you. Now I'm more inclined to believe the things that Joe is saying. But on the flip side, Joe, we as your audience, you have to use us as your audience the same way these niggas is trying to use the public against you currently. And here's a side note, guys. This is something that we could test in real time. So it could double down and further what it is that I'm saying. Diplomacy. What big name did Joe just reconcile with? What big name in the media sphere did Joe just reconcile with? DJ Vlad. Because if you didn't notice, I'm going to put the picture in the video. If you didn't notice, I received this message from my brother. He received this message from Twitter. Twitter received this message from No Jumper. Adam 22 shit. Of course, he's going to be the nigga to report this. I looked everywhere. TMZ. As soon as I typed in Joe Budden in Google, that's the first thing that pops up. Joe Budden allegedly arrested for standing naked in hallway. That doesn't even make sense. What they're not saying is that he was standing naked in his hallway. His hallway. Check DJ Vlad's page within a week. This whole next week, even if you don't follow him, check his page and watch the coverage on this shit. If there's none or if it's positive, diplomacy is a real thing. Because I can guarantee you, if they didn't just see each other at whatever store it was and shake hands and make amends like men, DJ Vlad would have been the first person to speak on this. But prior to recording this video, I scoured his page. I didn't see a lick about it. Check his page this whole next week. And that's going to show you how Joe should move forward when it comes to these niggas. Not even the media sphere. That was just an analogy. I'm talking about the people that he's trying to intermingle with. Because guess what, Joe? Unfortunately, SiriusXM saw this. Spotify sees this. All the other conglomerates in this space saw what just got posted this morning. That is by design. That is by design. You can fight your way. I'm going to fight mine. But I actually believe your sleepwalking story. I believe everything you said. And this police report furthers that. But when it comes to the court of public opinion or whatever the saying is, you have a huge audience. If you would have just told us outright what happened instead of making it subliminal and trying to keep it secretive and discreet, we would have been on your side from the jump. From the jump. We would have seen this bullshit from a mile away, like I have already. But since niggas is upset at their brokey talk, since you want to be discreet and not tell us the truth, even though you told us the truth, we're on the fence. Niggas might turn against you over this bullshit. But, man, this is a dirty, 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 dirty play. Dirty play. If I was Joe or anyone connected to the JBN, I would look into the backgrounds of the neighbors that you know you have plex with and make sure they don't have connections to people that you're in competition with in this space, or the conglomerates that you're possibly trying to do business with. Because I don't see Prize Picks doing anything. This is non-factor. But somebody's trying to get you out the paint, sir. I just felt like the things that I said were true yesterday, but given more context after this stupid ass press release, I'm more inclined to be on your side again. I appreciate y'all for listening, man. Y'all stay tuned. I still got that Pod Wives episode dropping. It's just, this is in the news circulation right now, and I couldn't pass it up. Y'all stay safe out there. I'll see y'all soon. Peace.